Hello there, everyone. How you doing today? I hope you're all well. Today we're going into r/entitled people to find stories of those who are entitled. If you enjoy, like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below and share the video around. I'd love to see more people get to see my channel. Now, without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Entitled Karen felt entitled to my engagement ring. So this happened a few months ago. I was doing my normal monthly grocery shopping at Walmart. I'm in the meat section getting what my family needs and will use for the month. I am terminally ill, so my weight fluctuates a decent bit. My fingers swell and shrink depending on what kind of day I'm having. At this moment, my hands were as small as they'd ever get. While putting a roast in my cart, the ring slips off and clangs its way through the bottom of the cart and onto the floor, where it bounced a couple of feet. Cue entitled Karen. This man looks me directly in the eyes, picks it up, and puts it in his pocket. I was shell-shocked and froze. I mumbled a quiet, "Thanks, can I have my ring back?" He makes no move to give my ring back until an employee makes it known that she has seen the whole fiasco happen and will be calling the cops if he didn't hand it over. He mumbled something akin to, "I found it on the ground. It's mine." He immediately handed it to me despite his protests. Like, what in the legitimate hell made him decide he could just take my ring? Dad tries to give away teenage daughter's womb. Recently reconnected with a childhood best friend, and it reminded me of this insane interaction decades ago when we were 17. I spent a lot of time with my best friend's house when we were young. Her family was a lot nicer, wealthier, and more normal than mine, and her parents even took me in for a month when I had to leave home at a young age. So we're hanging out, and one day her dad comes in really angry at her, just being generally rude and, "Are you still being selfish?" Really passive-aggressive, and then walks away like, "Damn, what did you do to Steve?" Thinking it was teenager stuff, but she got really upset. She tells me Dad's friends have been trying to get Pregante for a year now, and just confirmed they can't have a baby. He asked her to consider being their surrogate. She doesn't even know these people, have spent maybe an hour with them in her life. Also, we're 17, so that's insane. I kinda thought she was embellishing the story a little to me. But then he starts saying it right in front of me a week later. I'm paraphrasing what I remember, but it was basically, "These people mean so much to me. Why can't you think of anyone but yourself? You could change their life. You could really do something amazing here. We would all have this incredible connection and share the love of this baby. Do this for me." She just kind of awkwardly looks away until he leaves and then starts crying. He pestered her about it until she turned 18 and left on bad terms. He never got over it. The crazy part is both couples were old and rich and could have easily bought a real surrogate or adopted. I'll never know why he insisted it had to be her. I kind of want to ask her if he ever came to his senses, but I moved away and we lost touch for the last 10 years. It would be weird to bring it up now. I just had to get this insanity off my chest. Entitled ex-landlord demands I leave behind the washer and dryer I paid for. Originally I posted this on Am I the Asshole, but someone said it might belong here, so yeah, here it is. So for the past 2 years, I, a 25 male, lived in a small apartment building. The apartment didn't have a laundry room for the building when I moved in, but did come with hookups for a washer and dryer in the apartment. So I bought them myself, because I work for a wildlife sanctuary and I get pretty dirty during my work. Just the other day I had to chase down and wrestle one of our wild boars named Bacon, who loves to escape his pen and thinks it's funny to play chase. It got me completely dirty, so I was covered in grass stains and mud. So I was very much need them. My boyfriend and I just got engaged, and since my lease was up, I moved into his house with him. I finished moving everything out of the old apartment yesterday, and I thought nothing about taking my washer and dryer with me, as I had bought them. Well, I woke up this morning to multiple missed calls from my old landlord. I left my phone number and new address in case any mail was delivered in my old place. I called him back and he asked me why the washer and dryer were gone. I explained that I took them with me. He started freaking out, saying he had put that place as a wash. He said he had put that the place had a washer and drying in the ad for the place. Apparently, I raised the rent due to them. He started demanding I bring it back, and because the new clients he had set up to move had already signed the lease, are not interested in the place without them. He even threatened to call the police if I don't take them back. I got angry and told him I would do no such thing, reminding him that they belonged to me. I bought them, and I still had the receipts from when I bought them, as well as the text from him when I moved that explaining that I was buying them myself. He again threatens to call the police. I told him to do that and see what happens, and I hung up at that point. Personally, I don't think I'm in the wrong. I bought them, and they weren't cheap, so I feel like I have the right to take them. My boyfriend is on my side, but today my coworker said that I am the asshole for not telling the landlord I was taking them. In my opinion, that should have been obvious. I paid for them. Why would I leave them? Well, my landlord went through with calling the police because the next day they showed up today. Honestly, nothing really noteworthy happened. I explained to them what was going on, and showed them the receipt for the washer and dryer, as well as the text from the landlord I had when I told him I was buying them, and the cops took my statement and left. My boyfriend's father is a lawyer, and he is going to be contacting my landlord and sorting everything out. He advised me not to respond to said landlord anymore for the time being. Entitled kid tries sending his police officer dad after me in a pro-revenge attempt. His plan backfires. From the mid-90s through the early 2000s, I've spent my summers working as a counselor at a Boy Scout summer camp. I've worked in several different program areas, but this story happened when I was the director of the rifle range. Every week we would get a new group of campers, and when they came up to the range for orientation, I would go over all the safety rules. I would finish by telling the kids, "You get one warning on this range, and this is the warning. There are only 2 safe directions to point your rifles. Up into the air or down the range. It doesn't matter if your gun is loaded or unloaded. If you break this rule and deliberately point your rifle in any other direction, you will be kicked off this range and not be allowed to shoot here for the rest of the week." I would go over all these rules again for the kids on the first day of merit badge classes to satisfy the safety rule requirement for the badge. And there were plenty of posters hanging around the range with all the safety rules on them. In other words, there were no excuses to break them. One day, the scouts in my merit badge class were practicing shooting for the test they had to take at the end of the week. One scout, the entitled kid of the story, thought it'd be funny to point his rifle at another scout and spout off some random action movie line. I ran up, snatched the rifle from his hands, and yelled, "What the hell are you doing?" The entitled scout responds, But, the gun wasn't loaded." Me, recite the safety rules now. The entitled scout recited them all, including the part about pointing the gun in a not safe direction. I told him to hand over his shooting ticket. I tore it in half and said he was done on my range for the rest of the week. Later that afternoon, the range was open for free shooting. Everything was going smoothly until I noticed the entitled scout walking up the trail towards the range with his father, an assistant scoutmaster who was built like an NFL linebacker. After the round of shooting ended, I called a ceasefire and told my assistant to keep an eye on the range while I handled the situation that was about to happen. As I approached the entitled scout and his father, he jumped up and down, pointed at me, and yelled, "That's him! That's the one that tore up my ticket and kicked me off the range!" He looks at me and yells, You're gonna get it now. My dad's a cop and you're gonna be sorry for what you did." Before I could get a word out, Cop Dad gets in my face and starts chewing my butt out, drill sergeant style. Now, this story happened so long ago, I don't remember exactly what he said. I mostly remember the shit-eating grin the entitled scout gave me as he watched his father tear me a new one. I just stood there quietly and patiently, waiting for my turn to respond. Finally, Cop Dad said something along the lines of, "So what do you have to say for yourself?" I'm like, "Yes, I did tear up your son's shooting ticket and kicked him off the range. But did your son mention why I did that?" Cop's dad went from angry to inquisitive. He blinked in rapid succession as he said, "No, now that you mention it, he didn't tell me why." We both turned our attention to the entitled scout. His smile faded and shrunk in our presence, as he realized his plan had just backfired. I loved returning the same poop-eating grin that he gave me a few moments earlier. To the entitled scout's credit, he did tell the truth. He probably knew better than to lie to Cop Dad, and if looks could kill, the look on Cop's Dad's face would have killed his son several times over. After a moment of silence, he finally said, in one of the most intimidating voices I've heard in my life, "Go back to your camp and wait for me at your tent. I'll deal with you soon." The entitled scout left to the tune of Dead Man Walking. Cop Dad turned to me and apologized for getting angry and chewing my butt out before knowing all the facts, to which I accepted his apology. For the rest of the week, Cop Dad would come to the range every day during open shoot my rifles, and would hang out and talk with me. Turned out he was a pretty cool guy. At the end of the week, he told me that when they get home, he will finish the son's rifle shooting merit badge, and he'll make sure that his son will never disrespect a firearm ever again. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. Remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and share this with other people. I will see you all next time. Hasta la pasta.